A couple referees, and we're ready to play. Hopefully they're here.
Got a deep bench.
They do have some numbers, don't they? They got some good size on their team, too. Man, I love all the highlights that you snag. I go back and watch the other kids' too.
Because, we get the whole list.
Yeah. I love the play call for Nando's goal yesterday. Dave nailed it. It was awesome. I wish my camera was a little bit farther turned. I missed the Superman celly. That was awesome. How's it going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
All right.
Have we played them before?
We played 2 friendlies at Moto.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we tied them 2-2, and then they beat us 7-3 next. Well, we're a minute to 8:15, it looks like, according to the digital clock in the rink. Waiting for some referees to show up and allow the boys to officially take the ice. Until then, the Mavericks are lined up here to your left on your screen, getting ready to charge their bench, and the Kansas City Scouts have crossed the ice, and they're wearing their dark colors today. Here come the referees. Officially can get started. They'll check the nets in the mornings, and we'll be able to officially take the ice for our 3-minute warm-up before Game 2 of the Omaha Winter Classic. Omaha Mavericks pulled off a big victory yesterday morning against the Lincoln Stars, 2-0, an empty netter to put them ahead 2 goals there in the end of the third. It was a really close, hard-fought battle. Well-played game by both teams. So a tremendous job by the Lincoln Stars, and kudos to the Omaha Mavericks for pulling off their 3rd victory of the 4 times they've faced off against the Lincoln Stars. So currently there's only one. I don't know if there's 2 games been played for any team so far. There might have been. Lincoln Stars played 2 games, and they won yesterday in their 2nd game, handling the Sioux City Junior Musketeers like 8-2 or something like that. Out come the Omaha Jr Mavericks, wearing their whites today, acting as the home team here at the actual UNO Mavericks home arena. This is the home of the University of Nebraska Omaha Maverick Hockey Club. This is their practice ice called the Holland Ice Rink. The actual Baxter Arena is just behind us to the south, where the UNO Mavs play their home games. And this is that practice sheet of ice that I'm sure you've seen on our broadcast before. Really nice, cared-for arena, a relatively newer arena. Some terrific scenery out the windows, looking outdoors. One of the most, I'm going to call it open, not open air, but one of the most open rinks that we've been to, I think that we've ever been to, with the amount of glass windows that bring the outside in on this rink. So nice big Christmas tree across the street. Not sure if it's coming in on the broadcast here. I'll try and adjust. Big Christmas tree right here outdoors that's lighting up the cloudy morning with a little bit of snow coming down, like a real light snow coming down here this morning. A very crisp, cold morning. It's 12, 18 degrees with a feels like temperature of only 1 or single digits here. So the boys warmed up. I'm going to call it warm up. They do warm ups out in the parking lot. And coach told them to layer up, but there was a few of the boys that were in shorts. And the crazy Abram Keeney got the boys fired up by ripping his shirt off outside and coming in with his bearskin top off, making sure the rest of his team was calloused and fired up as he was this morning, regardless of how cold it was. Their blood was flowing. So the 1-0 Junior Mavericks will face off against the 1-0 KC Scouts this morning for game 2 of the Omaha Winter Classic. Omaha Mavericks will have 2 games today. Second game coming at, is it 2:30? 2:30 this afternoon. Same rink?
Same rink.
Same rink, same ice. 2:30 this afternoon. Everybody's welcome to come, free admission. Plenty of seating, plenty of standing room along the boards. Great, friendly, inviting rink. I wish the weather was a little bit warmer for you, but this is great hockey weather. We've been waiting for this weather. So bundle up, come watch your favorite Maverick kick some ass this afternoon. Buzzer sounds to end the 3-minute warm-up at the start of this game. A fresh 12 minutes will go on the clock so that we can start the first period against the Kansas City Scouts. Expecting to see Easton newcomer, the Beast, between the pipes today. Easton feeling focused this morning?
Yep. He's in the zone.
Jumped out of
any distractions, wanted to come straight to the rink and get going.
Jumped out of bed, rearing to go.
Oh yeah.
All right. Great big frothy cup of hot chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. You know, these boys, we got to treat these players right. All right, so there he is, the Beast. Paxton Schneider, Will Allers to take the face-off drop on offense, and the Bear and Keeney on defense. The boys line up for a opening face-off puck drop of game number 2 against the Kansas City Scouts in their dark colors, Omaha in their whites. Face-off drop back to Kansas City. Kansas City dumps it out of their zone. Keeney quickly picks it up, pass it up to the neutral zone to Paxton. Schneider gets into the zone, forced to the circle. Puck goes loose behind the goal line. A couple KC Scouts there in the corner pick it up. Goes cross ice, tapped by one of their own teammates, stirred up in the neutral zone. KC picks up the loose puck, outnumbered by defense, takes it into Omaha territory. Stall out around the short wall. Sturba going to battle. He's got Keeney with him, 2-on-2. Puck draws back to the corner to Allers. Paxton feeds it out to the middle. KC takes over, turned over by Schneider, almost taken over by Paxton in the offensive territory. KC regroups, feeds it out of the zone. Patera on the quick change, comes out along the short wall, gets outnumbered. KC coming back the other way. They gain Omaha territory, forced to the wall by Keeney. Keeney and Patera battling in their own corner. Patera trying to come out with it here. Gets around one player, making his way up out of his defensive zone, jostled up by a couple of defensemen. Stalled out now on the blue line. That one gets kicked out of the zone. KC Stars fire it right back in deep. The new legs on the ice are Patera, Jack Davis, and Stonebreaker. Stoney gets the pass to break out of his zone. Comes into offensive territory, stalls out, pass to the middle, Patera, now Davis, shot off the post, goes to the corner. Ike, bottom of the circle, feeds the middle, batted away by KC Stars to the corner. Comes Patera, pinching along the short wall, a little help from the boss, keeping it in the zone momentarily, but then KC will tap it out and work their way through the neutral zone. Into the offensive zone from the dot, shot goes wide. rung all the way around the boards and way back out of the zone, back into KC Scout territory. They're forced to regroup behind their own net. In comes the forecheckers, Courtright and T-squared. Ike picks it up at the blue line, feeds it back in hard. T-squared on his horse, battling now in the corner. KC coming out of the corner with it. Courtright trying to stall that out momentarily, but KC goes cross ice and gets it out of their zone. Working their way through the neutral zone. Plenty of Maverick defensemen back. They pinch on the short wall, feed it right back out. Cross back into the zone, and that'll stop the play at 9:11 left in the first period. 0-0 your score. Offsides the call. We'll have a neutral zone face-off here right in front of the Omaha Mavericks. Oh, well, that was an intentional offsides, so they're going to bring it back down to Kansas City Scouts territory. We'll get an offensive face-off drop for the Omaha Mavericks. Allers, Heater, Taz out there on offense. That's Fleming and that's Nandor on defense. Puck drop. Neutral win. Allers bats it back to Nandor to Fleming. Fleming trickling across the blue line, fires it back in deep. Circles into the corner. Heater going on a battle with Taz. KC comes out with it. Crisscrossing their own offensive zone and then batting it deep into Maverick territory. Nandor in a foot race and an attack. One man trying to forecheck. Heater picks it up on the short wall. Stalled out at the blue line. Little stick fight going on before KC rings it around deep into Maverick territory. Now we'll have a board battle on the opposite side. KC stick handles, fires one towards the net from deep in the zone. That one gets deflected back out to the other board. KC can't control it at their blue line, and we got a foot race. Vinny Heater trying to get there. Gets there first, loses his footing, crashes behind the goal line. KC picks it up, trying to work their way up. A shot just wide from Taz. Taz picks it up. He's got two attackers, keeping him in the corner. He'll get sandwiched by two. In comes Tremaine to help. Tremaine circles behind the net. Backhand through the crease. Couldn't find Sturba's stick. Fleming couldn't control it at the blue line. Forces the Mavericks to regroup and get on sides. That one crossed the line before Taz could get out, and we'll have an offsides and a neutral zone face-off, stopping the play with 7:50 left in the first period. 0-0, still the score. We'll face off now with Paxson, Sturba, and Wyatt Tremaine on offense. Bear and Keeney on defense. Clean Maverick face-off win, and that one gets dumped into the zone after the win. Paxson to chase deep in the corner. Gets sandwiched along the short wall. KC knocks it out of the zone. Keeney stalls it out at the red line. KC picks it up and gains offensive territory. Forced to the circle, trying to gain the middle. The Bear bats it away to the corner. KC picks it up along the short wall, trying to get to the middle again. Turned over by Omaha boys. Batted back to the blue line. KC brings it in. A shot towards the net. Stopped by the Bear. Trickles in front of the crease, then fired back to the boards. Paxson tries to get it out. Blue line keeps it in. Fired towards the net. From the slot. Shot blocked by the Bear. A rebound blocked by Beast. Another rebound blocked by Beast. Another rebound blocked by Beast. And the fourth attempt finally goes in. Just a barrage of Kansas City Scouts firing the puck at the net. A stick fight and sword battle. And KC ended up getting the momentum to drive that puck into the net. Beast doing everything he could, kicking and sprawling. But Kansas City Scouts go on the board first with 6:57 left in the first period. Mavericks drive the puck right off the faceoff drop in offensive territory. Allers dumps it in the short wall deep. Jack Davis on his horse to try and keep it below the goal line, but Kansas City battling, bringing it up the wall. Boss stick handles at the blue line, gets it coasting towards the middle. KC uses the legs to get it out. KC charging through the neutral zone. Stops at the blue line. They're offsides, forced to regroup. Goes cross ice with the pass. Man lost his footing, so Allers is able to come in and jumble it up a little bit. KC still charging, keeping it in the zone. Bouncing puck out to the circle, now to the top of the slot. Puck goes loose behind the net, rung up the boards. Jostled by Patera. KC fires it in deep. KC picks it up behind the net, fires from a 0 angle, blocked by Ike. Back to the dot, fired again. Big save by the Beast. Ike picks it up in the slot. Ike gaining speed through the neutral zone, outnumbered by defense, gets sandwiched as he crosses the blue line. KC will pick up the loose puck. Patera couldn't quite turn it over, but he's below the goal line, ready for some offensive action. KC picks it up. Now they're coming back out of their own zone. KC forced to the boards, tries to cut to the middle, jumbled up as they got to the middle. Puck loose there in the circle, comes back to the blue line. Defense, top of the circle, fires, big save by the Beast. KC picks up the rebound, tries to put it in front, batted back to the boards. KC feeds it back to their blue line. Blue line defense will keep it in, and a pitchfork toss towards the net goes off the side. Now battle behind the net. Omaha picks it up, trying to pass it out of their zone. Lots of swatting and jostling this puck. Courtright taps it ahead to T-squared. T-squared catching up to it, lost control at the blue line. KC coming back the other way, plenty of Omaha defense. KC forced behind the net. Tries to feed the middle, right through everybody's stick. Courtright now coming out of his own zone, gets it across the blue line. Mean mugged, loses control, out comes Nandor with it. Nandor to Wyatt Tremaine. Tremaine gets his shot pickpocketed, and KC fires it out of the zone. Fleming forced to hurry back to his own zone to regroup. That one couldn't quite touch up. That one will be an icing, and well played by Fleming to just let that one go and stop the clock. They'll finish their line change. 4:35 left in the first period. 1-0 KC Scouts in the lead. Fleming and Nandor on defense. Taz, Tremaine. Help me out there. That's Heater on offense. Face off in KC territory. Puck drop. A neutral win. Vinny comes in to try and get it going towards the crease. Another stick battle here. Tremaine back to Fleming. Fires from the blue line right into the chest, upper chest. And a big save by the Kansas City Scout goaltender. Will freeze the play again now with 4:23 left in the first period. 1-0 KC in that lead. Same legs will remain on the ice. We'll get another face-off here in Kansas City territory. Batted to the corner off the face-off drop. Kansas City working it up the short wall. Bounce it off the boards to get it out. Loose puck. Puck race in Omaha territory. Nice job by Nandor to keep it along the boards. Puck comes popping out. Taz trying to hurry to the blue line. KC keeps it in. On the short wall. KC charging top of the slot. Picks up another loose puck. Now forced to the opposite boards. Nice work by Fleming to shoulder a man and keep the puck from going towards the net. KC trying to pitchfork it to keep it into the zone. Lots of legs are getting it worked out. Here comes Heater. In a battle at the red line. Pushes the puck into the offensive zone, but quickly possessed by Kansas City. They'll regroup in their own. Working their way slowly through the neutral zone. Turned over momentarily by Sturba, and then KC takes over in the neutral zone again. Bodied off by Paxton Schneider. Looked like an offsides here. They'll stop the clock at 3:30 exactly left in the first period. 1-0 KC in the lead. Sturba, Allers, and can't see that other player, little Paxton out there on offense. KC with a quick win off the draw, charges the net, backhand, big save, another big save, and now Omaha clears it to the corner. Beast with 2 big saves in a row. Blue line defense for Kansas City keeps it in. Omaha will try and ring it out. Sturba stops it, passes it ahead to Paxton. Paxton, outnumbered by defense, gains offensive territory, forced to the corner. Gets hit and pinched, turned over. Allers will pick it up on the short wall, bat it towards the middle, nothing but KC there to pick it up and pass it out of their zone. Nice body by Keeney, but the loose puck, a one-on-one. Bear with a good poke check. Keeney back checks and saves the day too. No shot on goal. Nice body by Sturba. Turnover. Here comes Allers through the neutral zone. Oh, Jack Davis lost his footing and couldn't quite stay on sides. Play stop with 2:42 now left in the first. Nice physical play, shoulder-to-shoulder contact there to create a turnover on the Maverick blue line and get the puck going the other direction, but unfortunately, a little loss of an edge, and the Mavericks couldn't finish the scoring opportunity. A little back and forth as the Mavericks regroup in their own zone. They fire it deep out of their zone into the neutral. Turned over by Kansas City. They pass their way into offensive territory. A shot from outside, blocked by legs. Jack Davis picks it up, top of the circle, can't quite get it out of the zone. Forces Stoney to play it along the short wall. In comes the Kansas City defense to hold the line. Passes it all the way across to Patera. Patera picks it up, gaining speed into offensive territory, outnumbered by defense, pokes one, just stick save to the side of the net. KC from deep in their own corner, skating their way out of their own territory. Back check by Stoney. Puck goes loose into Maverick territory now. Ike picks it up, hits the brakes, gets run over by a Kansas City player. Nice poke check, and a little bit of a battle still going on behind the net. KC tries to rip one towards the net, slightly mishandled. Oh, lone skater, trucked by the boss. Loose puck to the corner. Kansas City trying to feed it to the middle again. Caught up in a player's feet that's down on the ice. From behind the goal line, puck comes loose out of the slot, and out of the zone comes Patera. Charlie gaining speed through the neutral zone. Gets forced to the wall, bodied by a player, gets his own rebound, still gaining momentum, circles around behind, gets a shot from the side, blocked by the Kansas City goalie. KC picks it up, working their way out of their own zone. Lots of attackers back for UNO. Ike stalls it out at the blue line, pushes it back into the neutral zone. KC picks it up, charges back into offensive territory. Nice body by Ike, stops that one at the blue line. Courtright chips it ahead. A lot of back and forth here in the neutral zone as the boys play a little ping pong here from blue line to blue line. KC 2-on-2 into offensive territory. Shot and a goal. 2-on-2. Some tremendous stick handling there. KC beat both defensemen there as they were charging into the zone. 44 seconds left in the first. Kansas City goes up 2 goals now, 2-0, to take this lead. KC out shooting the Omaha Mavericks 8-2 so far in this game. A little bit of momentum now and a tough squad here. Fleming picks up the face-off win, tries to tap it up the blue line. Kansas City stalls out. Fleming takes the body. KC picks it up, top of the circle. Big save by the Beast. Puck loose behind the net. Fleming hustles back, picks it up behind his own corner. He'll work his way up the wall. He's got momentum, feeds it deep into offensive territory. Kansas City, oh no! Hopefully that player's all right. Fleming trucks him from behind. Bad hit by Fleming, had too much momentum, didn't slow down, and just drove a player head first into the boards. Likely a major roughing call. Way too much excitement and momentum there. Needed to pump the brakes, and he did not. Player sprawling, moving, getting to his seat, so he's sitting on the ice now, but staying down, so that's a good sign that he's moving, but definitely a bad hit. I'm guessing that's going to be a major for the Omaha Mavericks here. Coaches have come out to tend to the Kansas City players, asked him to lay back down and stay still. He's good sign that he's moving, though. We love to see that. Players have taken a knee. 18 seconds left in the first period. 2-0 Kansas City in the lead. A bad hit, overly aggressive play there by Will Fleming. Has got a Kansas City player down on the ice. Cheers and stick taps are coming around as the player makes his way to his feet. And coaches, well, he's making his way off the ice on his own energy, so thank goodness he's okay. Bad penalty for the Omaha Mavericks here. That one's going to leave us shorthanded for maybe not a 2-10, maybe just a 2. Yes, a 2-10. So we're going to be shorthanded for a 2-minute time period here. Or I'm sorry, it'll be a minute 30, right? A minute 30 penalties. So a minute 30, but Will Fleming will sit a major penalty, and he won't be back in the game until later in the second period. 4-on-5, Kansas City with a power play. Face-off drop in Omaha territory. Bear rings it around the boards. Wyatt can't quite get there. Defense keeps it in deep. Bear picks it up now behind his own net again. Tries the same thing. Can't get it to Wyatt. Wyatt stalls it with his feet. KC keeps it in from the short wall. Stick handling into the corner. Fed to the middle right as the buzzer rang. And that'll end the first period. 2-0. Kansas City in this lead. And Mavericks on a short-handed special teams for the next minute and 12 of the second period. Kansas City, a big squad with some fast feet, and Mavericks having some trouble. We were talking earlier when the Mavericks faced off against some friendlies previously when we faced Kansas City Scouts. We tied them 2-2, and then we lost to them 7-3 in back-to-back friendly games here in Omaha quite some time ago. And we knew they were a force to be reckoned with, and we were looking to get some redemption. And so far, we've got plenty of time to do so, but we need to match their feet. We need to maybe not be overly aggressive as Will Fleming, but definitely that momentum that Fleming had going into that play is what we need to charge down the ice with and get some more shots. Only 2 shots on goal by the Omaha Mavericks, according to the scorekeeper. 8 shots on goal by the Kansas City Scouts. Being outshot, a little bit outplayed here right now with that score being 2-0. So big coaching moment on the bench for the Omaha Mavericks. Keep the momentum up, keep the boys fired up. Beast having a heck of a game. Let's talk about this kid. I don't know how many sprawling rebound saves this kid's made so far this game. I know there's only 8 shots on goal, but I'm going to say it looked more like 16 saves the way he was sprawling and going post to post and not getting enough help from his defense there.
Sometimes we need to get the puck killed a little bit. Rosie did a great job in that yesterday. If you can get control over the puck, if you can stop the play, then it takes some of those rebound opportunities away. But yeah, it had a lot of opportunities.
Puck drops, a fresh 12 on the board for the start of the second period. Stoney's out there with Tremaine for the offense. We're shorthanded, remember. Keeney and Bear on defense. KC, top of the slot, feeds it back to the circle. Tries to go up to his blue line, and nice job by Tremaine to get it out of the zone. Tremaine on the forecheck forces KC to regroup in the neutral zone. They quickly pass it ahead into offensive territory, taken out by the Bear. Puck goes behind the goal line, and Bear's going to get a penalty. Elbow likely coming up as Bear had a smaller player pinched along the short wall. Flapping his wings a little bit too much there. Oh, roughing?
Interference.
Oh, interference. Oh, that was a pick play. Okay, sorry. So an interference is the call. That penalty box is getting crowded with Papa Keeney in there with the boys. They're shoulder to shoulder now with 3 boys sitting in the sin bin for the Omaha Mavericks. We'll be 3-on-5 now. Kansas City with a power play. 11:27 left in the second period. Allers, nice face-off win to Ike. Ike feeds it around behind the goal line to Boss. Boss tries to go up the short wall. KC picks it up at the blue line. Nice job by Allers to forecheck. Boss comes in. He's going to skate it out of the zone. Outnumbered. Can't get through legs in traffic. Forces KC to regroup in their own offensive territory. Cross-ice pass. 1 touch to the middle. Allers stirs it up again, but KC top of the slot. Stick handling, goes to the bottom of the circle. Right through the middle, comes out to the top of the circle, blue line, fire wide of the net, puck loose behind. Boss rings it around the boards. Defense keeps it in. KC pinched by Allers. They fire it in deep. Ike picks it up behind his goal. Out comes Taz off the bench as the first. What's that?
Roman.
As the first penalty expires. Stonebreaker? Sorry, that's Stoney came off the bench. Stoney on the forecheck, deep in offensive territory as the puck goes loose down into KC end. KC picks it up, circles in their own zone, gaining speed through the neutral zone. Lots of defense back, swinging and poke checking, but they drive him only to the corner. A hit and a pinch. Boss will pick up the loose puck, ringing around behind the goal. KC gets it from the corner. They're still on a power play here. Fire from the blue line. Can't make it through feet, and the puck goes loose to the corner. Ike trying to defend. KC picks it up in the slot, fires and deflected up over. Beast with a good save. KC now picks up the loose puck in the opposite corner. Feeds behind the net. Bounces off behind the net. Ike with some good defense. Pokes it ahead. Paxson goes cross ice, intercepted by KC. KC on the short wall, back to the blue line. Now up to the short wall, off the wall, fires, hits the referee right in the ass. Puck stalled out behind the goal line. Boss will pick it up, and he's going to just clear it just wide of the net. That's going to stop the play for an icing. 9:22. Watch out, goalie. He's going to have, or watch out, referee. He's going to have trouble sitting down after that one. Is that on? Yeah, go ahead, please. Hey, welcome back, Dave.
Hey, hi. How are you?
I got a microphone in here for you if you want to join me.
I can do that.
We got a face-off draw coming here in offensive territory here. We're not quite 5-on-5, or yes, we are 5-on-5 hockey. Shot off the side of the net by KC right on the face-off win. Mavericks battling to get it out of their zone. Keeney, board pass up to Patera, a foot race, and Kansas City picks it up at the red line, stalls it out at the red line. KC turned over by Tremaine, a one-on-one. Wyatt gains offensive territory, a shot towards the net, a kick save. That one goes to the corner. Tremaine gets his own, try to go to the middle with it. KC picks it up, circling out of the zone, coming into the neutral zone. Stopped up by Nandor. Nandor feeds it back in deep, forces KC to chase. Allers comes off the bench. He's going to get there first, wings it towards the net. That one goes all the way back out and around, up to the blue line. Nandor couldn't quite stop it. Comes back out to neutral zone. Nandor battling two, pushes it ahead to Patera. Patera gets it batted off of his tape. Loose out to Kansas City in the center ice. They bat it in deep as defense outnumbers them. Nandor changes direction in his own corner, gets bodied off the puck. Keeney comes in to help, taps it ahead to Courtright. Courtright tries to go cross ice, caught up in some tape. Then he goes to find Patera, comes out of the zone, but quickly turned over by KC scouts. KC jumbled up at the red line, but gains offensive territory again quick. Top of the circle, Nandor defending, forces him around the back. Puck loose behind the goal line, a stick fight, comes back out of the slot. Here comes T-squared. T-squared, a 2-on-2 with Courtright, back in offensive territory. T-squared forced to the boards. Bottom of the circle, rings one right through the crease and goes to the other side. Courtright now in the corner battle. Can't pinch. Allers on the short wall. Jumbles it up from coming out of the zone. Bear comes in to help. That one crossed the blue line. Here comes T-squared, fires just wide of the net. Puck comes out to the short wall. Courtright's there to pick it up. Couldn't quite backhand it out to the crease. Picked up by Kansas City. They go cross ice with it. T-square picks a pocket. 3 men to get through. Couldn't quite get there. Up comes that Paxson. Paxson keeps it in. Now Allers. He gets trucked after he gets a shot off. Puck deep into KC territory. They'll skate it out of their own zone. Heater on his horse doing a forecheck and a nice turnover. Feeds it back to Bear. Bear to Ike. Ike to Vinny. Heater gets the territory, outnumbered by defense. Stoney uses his feet, keeps the puck in deep. Heater on his horse to get it behind the blue line, gets hit. Taz jumbles up on him. KC picks it up next to their own net. Kansas City now skating out of their own zone. The pass into territory deflects off a player. Waves off the icing. Forces Bear to collect the puck in his own corner. A lob pass comes out of the zone. Stalls out in Kansas City territory. No icing. KC goes cross ice with the pass. Another nice cross ice pass to get it out of their zone as they work their way into offensive territory. Nice job by Vinny Heater to forecheck, to back check. Stall it out on the short wall. Blue line, shot. Big save by the Beast. Another rebound out to the blue line. That one goes wide. KC picks it up in the corner again. Feeds it back in deep from behind the goal line. Now behind the net. Tries to circle it to the middle. Too many Mavericks in the way. And Bear goes on the charge. A 2-on-2 coming back into Kansas City territory. Forced to the boards. Goal line shot just past the goal. Sturba picks it up. Tries to feed it back to Paxson. Paxson Gets it topped off of his tape. He'll get a loose puck back in neutral zone. Circle back into offensive territory. From the corner, pinched, and a battle will go on. Sturba comes out with it. Works his way behind the net. Couldn't get it back out to Paxton. KC picks it up, and they'll start skating out of their own zone. KC slowly through the neutral zone, lobs one back in deep. Ike picks it up behind his own net. 5:14 left in the second period. Ike up to Schneider. Schneider goes cross ice. Sturba saves it from turning over. Paxton will just fire it all the way down. That one will be an icing, stopping the clock at 5:03 left in the second period. 2-0. KC Scouts still in this lead.
Very hard, it seems like, Matt, for the Junior Mavericks to get to the front of the net. You know, KC's done a good job of keeping them out to the outsides right now.
Yeah, definitely low scoring chances in this game for the Omaha Mavericks. We finished the first period with 2 shots on goal. Now they're at 3, so struggling to get those shots on the net, like you said, Dave. A face-off drop in Omaha territory, came back to the blue line and fired back in deep. A corner battle by Nandor, shot by KC, big save by the Beast, fed out by Jack Davis to Patera. Patera outnumbered by defense, works his way just into the blue line. Allers comes in and picks up a loose puck. The dot, the fire, just wide of the net. Bouncing puck over Jack Davis. He recovers back to it. Shot loose through the slot. Kansas City picks it up. Comes back out to the middle. Allers on his horseback checking. Forces a man to the boards. Big hooking call by Allers as he got his stick tangled up in the player's body. Oh, that's going to be on Kansas City. They're going to say holding. Wow. Jack Davis fires at an empty net. Not sure what is going on right now. They thought it was going to be a penalty on Kansas City, but it was on the Mavericks. Ended up being a penalty on the Kansas City Scouts for holding.
Oh, man. He was holding Will as he was trying to get around him, apparently. Oh, and he just missed the empty net. Good Lord.
Golly, they pulled their goalie for the extra attacker as a delayed penalty call. And so there was an empty net, misunderstanding the play from the bench, from the coaching staff. And Patera, was it Patera? That barely missed the net here as he was charging in. He had lots of attackers on him, so he just did what he could to get a shot towards the goal. And man, that was a lucky draw here for the Omaha Mavericks. We could have put that first goal in. 4 to 9 shots on goal, 2-0, KC in the lead. 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the second.
I will say, Matt, it's not often, and I don't know that I've ever seen a guy get called for holding when he had possession of the puck. And the referee is making his explanation now to the Kansas City coach, who looks like he's doing everything he can to comprehend the call.
It did really, from our vantage point, look like Will was
Will was kind
hooking.
of a half a step behind him, so you could understand where he might have held the kid.
He ended up dropping his stick, though, letting go of his stick, so that was a good job by Allers.
Well, and was the call holding, or was the call holding the stick?
That could have been either. I mean, we're holding either way, right?
But what I'm saying is, if Will lost his stick, was it because the other kid was holding it?
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the actual call on the play.
Mavericks will get their first power play. Now, bear in mind, Will Fleming is sitting a major, and he won't be coming out probably until about 2 minutes left in the period, and he'll have to wait for a play stop because of that major penalty to get out of the box. So right now, 5-on-3? They're giving him 2 penalties. A bench minor? Oh, must have been some inappropriate language or something that came along with that play. So a 5-on-3 Maverick power play. Face-off draw, fire from the blue line. Bear fires and the goalie makes a big save. Loose puck in the corner in a 2-on-2 battle. Fed back to the Bear at the blue line. Poked out of his hands. Keeney makes the save. Keeney getting poke checked there at the blue line as well. KC feeds it in deep. Nice defense, or nice job by KC to get it out of the zone desperately. The icing is called as they cleared it down the zone. That was a right move by KC Scouts. Stops the play now at 3:40 left in the second period.
Matt, in this situation, the Junior Mavericks have to move the puck fast because there's lots of room out there. They've got to find the open guys.
Needing to find those shooting lanes here. Puck drop, KC win, and they're instantly going to clear it. They're going to try and bank it to prevent the ice. Will it go all the way? Yes, it will. Stop the play with 3:30 left in the second. 52 seconds left in the matching 2 penalties.
No, either way.
Sorry, not matching, but the 2 penalties.
Coincidental ones, yep.
For the KC Scouts.
Either way, that took 10 seconds off the power play.
Stoney out there on the draw. Not a clean win, poked towards the net. KC tried to dump it out, gets through the Bears' feet. Keeney back to play it at his own red line. Can't get the puck through the skates. KC charging or forcing the charge into offensive territory. Mavericks take over though. Maverick cross ice to Stoney, Bear to Stoney. Stoney, top of the slot, fires off the pad, rebounds, sitting in the slot. Lots of feet and sticks in the way. Nobody can get their tape on it here. Finally, Courtright gets control, goes cross ice to Bear. Bear fires just wide of the net. Courtright gets the bouncing puck back to Keeney. Keeney from the blue line over to Bear. Whiffs on the one-timer, loses it in his skates. Kansas City coming the other way, a one-on-one. The pop fly back into offensive or Maverick territory, and that'll be another icing. Now only 8 seconds left in the power play. Will Fleming coming out of the box. Sat his major, and he's going to rejoin the game. So 8 seconds left, and then KC will go back to even strength with the Omaha Mavericks. Until then, we'll get a 5-on-3 face-off in Kansas City territory. Heater, Taz, Tremaine out there on offense. Tremaine tried to poke it back. It got rustled back to the boss. 3, 2, 1. We're even strength as Taz tried to pull the puck around behind the net. A battle here behind the goal line. Taz feeds the middle. Nothing but KC there. KC picks it up. Gaining momentum through the neutral zone. Lots of defense for Mavericks back. They're forced to the corner now behind the goal line. Nice job by Ike to turn it over. Ike will start bringing it out of his own zone. Jumbled up a little at the slot. Tremaine goes cross ice to Taz. Taz stalled out in his feet. KC coming back the other way. Plenty of defense. Nice job by the boss to force him to the boards. Deep in the corner, trying to get it up the wall. Can't quite turn over. Here comes top of the circle. Puck goes out of the zone. Bounces off some skates, some legs. KC picks it up. Charges back into offensive territory. Top of the slot. Stick handling. Nice job by defense. Turns it over. No shot on goal. Ike is going to gain some speed through the neutral zone. He's got 4 men to beat. Puts on the brakes. Tries to go to the middle and poke check to the boards. Heater fires it in deep. In comes Paxton Schneider to challenge with the forecheck. Puck goes rung around the boards. Tremaine pinches on the short wall. Paxton feeds it out to the middle. Nothing but KC there to pick it up and skate it out of their own zone. KC charging in offensive territory. Feed to the middle. Lots of defense. Fleming, first one to it in the corner. Whiffs on the pass. Allers picks it up, pushes it ahead gently. Paxton Schneider almost on a breakaway chance. Sturba will help push it ahead. Paxton in a foot race. Tide getting there first, recovers, feeds it out to Fleming, fires, score! Paxton recovers, picking up the loose puck on the short wall, fed it back to Fleming, fires a wrister that went right over the shoulder of the goalie, and the Mavericks are within 1 goal of tying this game. 1 minute and 3 seconds left in the second period. 2-1 now the score with KC still in the lead.
Well, that's something to build on, Matt, with a goal late in the period, and makes it a 1-goal game. And then we get to say the next goal is a big one.
Yes, it is. Jack Davis, Will Allers, Charlie Patera out there on offense. They bully that puck ahead gently. Pick it up at the top of the slot. Jack backhanded right through the slot. KC picks it up on their short wall. Turned over by Fleming. Fleming charging in, lobs one towards the goal. That one goes wide. Allers pinching on the short wall. Jack Davison to help. A little bit of bodying. Allers will end up being there. Feed out to Patera at the middle, trying to stick handle. Can't get past 2. Puck comes loose out of the zone. That one should be an icing. And that'll stop the clock with 28 seconds left in the second period.
Great pass by Will to Patera. He was just, KC had a good gap on him, and he just didn't have any room to pull the trigger on a shot.
Like you mentioned earlier, the KC Scouts doing a good job of clogging the lane. Anytime one of our players are getting into the slot, the center high above the net, there's lots of sticks and skates to go through. Face-off drop in KC territory. Up the short wall, Fleming picks it up. fires, deflected up into the netting, stopping the play with 20 seconds left in the second period. Forcing the Mavericks to do just that, shoot from outside, not getting any opportunity to shoot on goal from any sort of tight quarters.
Well, and here's the thing. If you're going to shoot from outside, get somebody in front of the net. Screen that goalie. Make it ugly for him. If he's able to see that, he's a pretty good goalie. He's going to be able to stop it.
Face-off drop comes out to the neutral zone. Omaha feeds it back to their defense, mishandled momentarily. A pop fly just out of the zone, back to the red line as 5 seconds tick off the end of the period. Mavericks get control and get into the offensive territory, and that's going to stop the play. Now, I'm going to say one great thing that came out of that period that you and I were talking about, Chase, was we finished the first period with shots on goal like 9-2. And now the shots on goal are 10-7. So 1 shot on goal that whole second period by the KC Scouts and 5 shots on goal by the Omaha Mavericks. So a little bit of a momentum shift there as far as putting shots on the goalie, which is something we were lacking in the first period. So kudos to that coaching moment that the Mavs had in between periods to gain that momentum and figure out how to adjust and get some pucks and challenge that goaltender.
Well, I missed the first period, so I didn't see what was going on there. But getting here in the second period, seeing the Junior Mavericks get sticks on pucks, and they're blocking a lot of shots, they're blocking a lot of passes. And this KC team, they skate well, they pass well, and they find the open guy. So they've really got to continue doing that, particularly in their own zone, because every square inch of ice out there it's hard fought, and they've got to. There's still the team that's a goal down, but it's only a goal down, and the next goal is going to be a big one.
Oh, yeah, lots of game to be played here when you're only a goal down, so this is a great opportunity for Mavs. Hey, this is our game. We are a slowly progressing team where we come out of the gate a little bit soft, and then we finish strong. We're going to win the Triple Crown here today. I know it's going to happen, and we're going to do it by matching feet and just keep charging to the net.
And that's just it. When you face a good skating team, you got to take away their time and skill. You got to play the angles right. You got to get in front of them, and you got to slow them down and break up those passes like we were talking about by getting stick on puck.
The Baron Keeney back on the blue line. T-squared, Stoney and Courtright on the face-off draw. Puck gets tied up behind the centers. T-squared picks up the loose puck, circles in his own zone. Stick handles around one. Slowly working his way through the neutral zone. Turn over to Stoney. Stoney loses control right as he crosses the blue line. KC feeds it back to Keeney. Keeney fires it back in deep. No ice. KC forced to regroup behind their own net. Stalls out momentarily. Passes it up. Keeney fires it and returns the favor back behind the goal line. KC ringing it back and forth along the short wall. They'll finally skate it on their own out. Outnumbered by UNO defense. The poke check sends it. Was that offsides? Loose across the blue line. No offsides called. T-squared and a sword fight along the boards in front of us here. KC comes out, feeds it back up that wall. Bear will take over at the red line. Right inside the big shot off the mask of the goalie there. Made the save. KC picks it up in front of their own net. Here comes Heater on the charge trying to forecheck. He couldn't quite get the full turnover. Scouts fired in deep. Bear picks it up in his own zone.
Right there.
Stick handling, backhanded, up to get the movement going. His defensive pairman, Keeney, will bring it in deep. A sauce through the slot. Heater couldn't quite get it. Comes back out to the blue line where Keeney would have been, and Keeney's doing a great job of being everywhere. The puck goes in deep after a board pass. Bear picks it up behind his own net, goes behind.
Penalty
coming up on Kansas City. Touched up by Taz. Taz gets hit from behind. KC will touch up and stop the play with 10:18 left. Not sure if we got a hit from behind here on Taz. It's a gentle hit.
Yeah,
but
I think they're just going to call the first one, which is the trip that sent Bear to the ice.
So we'll have another Maverick power play. The 5-on-3 power play we had first, we weren't able to put in the net, but we'll get a 5-on-4 power play here for 1:30 with 10:18 left in the third period. Mavs still down 2-1 in a face-off draw here in KC territory. They win it cleanly and fire it all the way down. That's going to be an ice, and that's good chess strategy here in hockey. Just keep icing it when you're shorthanded and killing seconds off of this clock until you get back to 5-on-5.
Yeah, well, in particular with this rule where there's an automatic icing even during a power play.
Paxson, Sturba, and Allers out there on offense. Ike and the Boss on defense. Puck goes into KC corner. They feed it up the short wall. Boss from the blue line fires. Big save. Bobbled a little bit, but was able to recover and freeze it.
That was good. Boss got that shot chance because Will forced the sort of the toss up the wall when there wasn't anything else there because he put the heat on the defense, and that's what the Mavericks have to do is they have to get in there and put pressure on these guys.
Same legs on the ice, same face-off dot. How you doing? Puck drops, loose into the corner. Allers back to Boss. Boss over to Ike. Ike forced to dump it quick. Goes loose back behind for Sturba to chase. KC rings it around the corner. Pinched. Ike picks it up from the dot. Fire in some legs. Rebound and another big kick save. Ike puts it back to the slot again. Recovers a loose puck. Drops it for the Boss. Boss fires one on the ice. Sturba forced to go get it in the corner. Feeds it up to Paxson. Paxson in the short wall battle. Tries to go to the middle. Bounce back out to Ike on the blue line.
Good.
Ike just feeds it in deep. Allers on the forecheck to try and recover. KC picks it up. Penalty has now expired. Nope. Penalty has 38 seconds left. Ike was able to recover a loose puck on his own blue line. Changes direction.
Good play. Now, pass.
Making his way through the neutral zone. 3-on-3. Omaha getting right at the top of the slot. Poke checked away. Nice job by Allers to keep it in the zone. A little sword fight with Patera and Jack Davis. KC comes out. Can't quite feed it all the way back. Ike forced to recover at the top of his own slot. Board pass up to Fleming. Fleming got 10 seconds left in the penalty. KC bats it back to Ike.
Shoot.
Ike off one of his players' skates over to Stoney on the far side. Stoney up the boards to Jack Davis. Jack, we're even strength hockey as Jack just bowling his way into the zone. Nice board pass, couldn't quite get his own. Puck comes back out. Here comes Nandor, loses control of it as he comes into the blue line. Hustles back, pinches his player at the red line, feeds it back to Fleming. Fleming regrouping in his own territory. Nice feed up to Patera. Patera got charged on. Turned over at their own blue line. Here comes Fleming to help. Fleming pinched to the boards, loses control at the blue line. Patera picks up the trash and pushes it back in behind the goal.
Good, Jake.
Circling behind. Patera outnumbered, feeds it to the middle, and that might have been an interference, but no call. Fleming fires off the shoulder. Loose puck in front. Goalie was able to swallow it up. Nice job crashing the net. We're out shooting the KC Scouts now 11-10. We were getting outshot 2-1 at the end of the first. Here we are with 8 minutes left in the game, out shooting them by 1 now. This is a prime example of how Mavericks gain momentum as the game goes on.
Yeah, they're really pushing right now. Like KC on their heels a little bit.
Face-off drop goes behind. KC passing it out of their zone. A whiffed pass. Loose to neutral zone. KC regroups, but then Fleming will stall it out, push it ahead. We're back and forth in the neutral zone here.
Got to move our feet.
Tapped ahead. T-squared couldn't quite reach it, so KC bats it all the way in. That one's going to be an ice. Now just killing the clock, right?
Yeah.
The strategy for KC is just to let seconds tick off the clock so that they can ink out a 1-2 or a 2-1 victory for them.
Trying to kill the clock and wait for the Junior Mavericks to make a mistake. Wait for that little bit of a break that they might get and maybe punch in a third one.
Bear, Keeney back on the blue line. T-squared, court right, Tremaine on offense. Face off in KC territory. Tremaine back to Keeney. Keeney over to Bear. Bear's got an attacker, pushes it up the court right, goes to the middle, and defense was swatting it away. Wow, what a tic-tac-toe. KC skating it out of their zone. Challenged and zigzagging through the neutral zone, forced to the board, tries to feed the middle. Bear stalls it out. Tremaine whips it back out to the blue line. Nice job by T-squared, court right. A 2-on-1, court right. Behind him, tries to pull it up to his feet. Gets trucked hard. He's staying down on the ice. Keeney picks up the loose puck. And Courtright staying down. Looks like he might have landed on his hand as his glove came whipping off. A yelling match by the referee.
Unfortunately, Jake was in a vulnerable position there, trying to pull the puck forward.
Courtright getting up to his feet on his own, making his way slowly. A little bit of a limp there. Maybe it's not his hand that's hurt. Might be a leg injury there by Courtright.
He got twisted going down. Hit. Yeah, that kid was bigger than him and caught him from the blind side, and that's a tough hit. I mean, Jake had the puck. It looked legal, other than the fact that he really smoked him.
Coach really upset about that hit. Yelling match with the referee momentarily. 7 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. 2-1 Scouts in the lead. No penalty on that hit.
And that's clearly a referee who has no trouble yelling back.
Yes. Kansas City comes up with the draw. Allers picks the pocket. Inking his way into the offensive zone, but KC turns it over. A one-on-one with lots of back checkers for Mavericks. Nice job by the boss to back check and body his man off the play. Loose puck behind the net. Kansas City with lots of speed going into this offensive territory. Feeding it back and forth behind the goal line. Ike pinching. No penalty here. Ike protecting. KC comes out with it behind the goal line. Stick by Ike turns out with it. Pushes it out of the zone. Gets tripped as he does. A penalty coming up on KC. Slash. Kansas City Scouts. Mavericks will get a power play. 6:24 left in the game.
Matt, people may be saying, well, how come Kansas City keeps taking all these penalties? Because the Junior Mavericks are making them do that. They're forcing the issue. They're moving their feet. They're making plays, and these guys are having to react. And sometimes when they react by taking penalties.
Sturba, Stoney.
Yep.
Paxson out there on offense. Puck drop in KC territory, and there's their famous dump and kill the penalty.
I'm not even going to turn the camera. I'm just going to go right back here.
Yeah. 6:20 left in this game. 1:26 left on the penalty for the KC Scouts. Nandy and Fleming out there on defense. We'll have another repeat face-off with the same legs in Kansas City territory.
Face-off wins are critical now.
Back to Fleming. Fleming taps it high on the boards back into the corner. Pinch and Paxson. Here comes Sturba from behind the net. Stick handling out to the top of the circle. Nandor tried to one-touch it back to him, and KC intercepted. Fires it all the way down. Wave off the ice, and that one comes around, and the Beast will swallow it up and freeze the play. Nice job as the bounce off the back wall came right back out in front of him, and the safe play was to freeze the puck. 1:04 left in the penalty now. 5:58 left in the game. 5-on-4 Maverick power play here as we take the face-off in Omaha territory this time. Same legs will remain on the ice. Big face-off draw for the Mavs. Neutral, KC puts it back to D. Intercepted by Fleming. Fleming loses control, regains, gaining speed through the neutral zone, fires right into the legs of KC. KC coming back the other way. Outnumbered by defense. Crosses the blue line, fires, and scores. Sniper of a goal from the top of the circle. A short-handed goal puts the KC Scouts up 3-1 with 5:54 left in the game. Coach not happy. Been working a lot on that short-handed special teams, and that was just a wicked shot by that KC Scout.
I think he picked what little he got and was able to make it happen.
We forced him to the boards and to make that shot from the outside, and that was just a hell of a sniper shot on the Beast. Patera, Tremaine, Jack Davis out there on the face-off draw. Puck quickly goes to the boards. Patera picks it up. Patera can't quite make it through two. Keeney coming in to help. Nice reverse check. Got the puck moving into offensive territory. Tied up right at the top of the circle. Patera off the boards. The dot. Stick handles. Jumbling, can't get the shot off. Another one, and Patera was able to put the rebound in. No, the goal's waved off. Man in the crease. Man in the crease. Man in the net. Puck is waved. The goal is waved off. Goalie interference or man in the crease. No goal. They're even going to give Jack Davis a penalty on that?
No, I think they were pointing at Jack as the guy who was in the crease, maybe interfering with the goalie, or
a cross check. Another little how you doing friendly conversation between the referee and the Mavericks coach.
Well, Nick's got to be careful because this.
I think he's kicking him out right now.
I get the impression that this referee is going to have no problem giving the Mavericks a bench minor.
He's kicking him out. Referee just ejected. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
That's the same ref who ejected the guy during the summer league game.
Face off in neutral zone territory. KC wins, comes out, dumps it in deep. Bear picks it up behind his own goal line, dodges one attacker, takes it over to the short wall.
Come on.
Starts moving his feet up, looking for a pass, stalled out at the blue line. Nice and easy, pass through the neutral zone, doesn't get through skates. KC pokes it out to the middle.
5-on-5.
KC is full strength, 5-on-5 hockey as Keeney pokes it up to Patera. Patera, stick handling through two, gets it, shoots it, and deflected high up into the netting. The netting will freeze the play. 4:42 left in the game. 3-1 KC in the lead. 5-on-5 now, even strength hockey. Face-off coming up in Kansas City territory. Shots on goal are 13-11 in Mavericks' favor now. Ike and the boss out on defense. T-squared, court right. Allers on offense. Puck goes to the corner. Rung around the boards by KC.
Good pinch.
Trying to pinch to get it around Ike. Can't. Allers comes, fires it through the slot, goes loose to the opposite corner. Court right. Pushes it back to Boss. Boss fires it back to Courtright. Courtright trying to hustle there, can't get there first. KC puts on the brakes. Courtright goes flying by. Allers now picking it up in the short wall. Fires it back to the slot. KC picks it up, passes it out of their zone. Lots of defense back. Allers trying to back check. Doing a good job. Nice job by Ike to stand him up. Turnover. Ike in his own corner. Pushes it up to Allers on the short wall. Cross ice pass to T-squared. T-squared. Stick handling around one. Top of the circle. Fires. Glove save just wide of the net. Picked up by a KC. Feeds it back out to the middle. Loose puck. Boss fires into some players. Deflected back to the corner. KC feeds it up the short wall. Big penalty coming up. Likely on Mavericks.
Yep.
Yes, it is. That was T-squared who came in too hot. He's going to go to the sin bin for a roughing call. 3:42 left in the game. 1:30 roughing on T-squared is going to put the Mavs down at one man for half of the time remaining left in the game. We'll be shorthanded 4-on-5 with Stonebreaker and Heater out there on offense and Nandor and Fleming on defense. Puck drop about to come in Omaha territory here. Puck goes back to the corner. Fleming rings it around behind the net. KC getting to the opposite corner there first. Nice job by Nandor to get in the corner battle. Feed it up to Heater. Heater fires it down. They're going to ice it and use the Kansas City Scout strategy of the penalty kill.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Clock.
I think if Vinny had taken just a beat longer, he would have noticed he had some room. He could have skated it up a little bit, killed a little bit more time. Maybe thrown it off the far wall.
Puck drop in Maverick territory. Heater bats it all the way down, but this one was a little bit of a knuckle puck, and it crosses the line. If it stalls out before the goal line, it's not icing. But if it crosses that goal line, it is an icing. So the boys use the boards. They use pop flies and wobbly passes to try and get it to stall out without stopping, without crossing that line. We'll have a face-off in Mav territory again. KC wins back to the blue line. Now up to the short wall, shot towards the net. Big stick save by the Beast. Forces it to the opposite short wall. Vinny Heater's there first in a sword fight with two players. KC comes off the wall with it. Shot across the slot. That one goes to the opposite side. KC back to their blue line. KC from the blue line up to the corner. From the corner, shot to the middle. Big save by the Beast. And Boss will fire it all the way out of the zone. I'm sorry, that was Stoney. Stoney fires out of the zone. That one's on goal, so no ice. We've got 30 seconds left in the penalty. KC regroups behind their own net. Whiffs on the pass. Stoney almost creating a turnover, but KC continuing out of their zone. Heater on the forecheck.
Nice job, Ben.
A nice reverse check by KC, but the puck stops at the neutral zone. KC forced to regroup deep in the neutral zone. A soft touch ahead. KC gains offensive territory. Forced to the wall by Fleming. Fleming with a good poke check. And that puck will come loose all the way back out into KC territory. 5 seconds left in the penalty. KC passing it ahead. 5-on-5 hockey now. KC into the zone. Even numbers of defense by the Mavs. KC fires it in the middle. Big save by the Beast. Puck loose in the circle. Keeney picks it up at the short wall. Pokes it ahead. Can't get it through defensive legs. KC feeds the middle again. Keeney, soft touch. Can he get it out of the zone? No. KC fires it back in deep. Bear picks it up in his own corner. Mishandles the puck. KC back to the blue line. Fires. Deflected wide into the corner. Keeney gets there. Can't quite tap it up the short wall. Allers comes in. Stick handles past one. Barely misses a big hit from behind. That was a dangerous charge by Kansas
kid meant
City.
to injure Will on that hit.
Puck comes around
Near
the
hit.
kick wall back to the blue line, and a rebound and another goal by the Kansas City Scouts as the Mavericks were just desperately doing everything they could to get it out of the zone. 1:24 left in the game. KC goes up 4-1. Mavericks are still out shooting now, 14-13. We finished the first period of this game being outshot 2-1. We're now out shooting them, but boy, we're just struggling. We're giving them those shooting lanes.
Yeah, that last shift was tough. We couldn't clear it out of our zone.
A face-off drop and some back and forth here on the red line. Then pitchforked into the zone. That one a little bit too high and went into the netting, stopping the play with 1:15 left in the game. Center ice face-off draw. As Patera, Wyatt Tremaine, and Jack Davis take the offensive face-off draw. One back to Ike. Ike up to Jack.
Good pass.
Jack tied up in some feet. Patera takes the shot, a bouncing puck, and a goalie save. Now 1:06 left in the game. That's another shot on goal for the Mavericks. Doing a good job of getting pucks to the net now, better than they did in the first period, but struggling to get put them in the back of the net. Ike and the boss remain out there with defense with the same offensive legs on the ice. Face off in Kansas City territory. They ring it back to Ike at the blue line. Ike over to Patera. Patera on the short wall. Stick handling behind the goal line. Circles behind. Tries to wrap around.
That's off its moorings.
Poor Jack. The referee thought the puck was frozen.
Jack's feeling a little bit. Jack just got himself a penalty for mouthing off to the referee. His frustration's getting the better of him a little bit.
This referee is just... Yep, we just got another penalty. That's 2. These referees are just relentless on any back talk by the coaches or the players.
Well, and
the play wasn't frozen. Prematurely blew the whistle.
Yeah.
Boys kept playing because the puck wasn't frozen, and now he's taking it out on the team.
Yeah, it's tough. You really have to understand what you're dealing with. You have to talk to the kids, and not just bark at them and throw penalties at them.
Puck drop in Maverick territory. A 4-on-5 power play for the KC Scouts. KC circles, fires, and goes bar down to make it 5-1.
It's a heck of a shot, boy.
That was a sniper in the top corner with a bad angle.
Yep.
No, Beast is just taking the punishment here. Unfortunately, doing a good job in the net, but Mavs are just losing their momentum, something fierce, and struggling to match feet and get their sticks in the lane anymore.
A couple of breaks didn't go their way, and that's led to some frustration. It's too bad because 5-1 is, I don't think, indicative at all of how this game has gone. It's been much closer than that.
Puck drop at center ice. Taz doing a good job of stalling it out there in the neutral zone as he's battling 2. Nice shoulder by Taz. Stoney back to Ike. Ike mishandled the pass. Boss comes in, fires it up to Patera. Patera runs into traffic. Lobbed into KC territory. Taz with a nice job of bullying his way to create the turnover on the short wall. Is he all right? Yes, he popped back up. Stoney comes in, takes over, working his way up the short wall. Goes out to the dot. Pop fly into the crease. That one stalled out in the slot. KC takes over and coming out of their own end. 5 seconds left in the period. KC gains offense. Shot towards the net. Ike levels his man. And that's a penalty as the last second ticked off the clock. Ike, not sure why there was a penalty on that one. Probably a roughing, but I think it's just the refs taking out their aggression on the Omaha Mavericks. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed listening to you. Usually, when you hear these, it's very biased. You could be a commentator on TV. Very fair.
Thank you. I appreciate
and plus
it.
it made it much more enjoyable. I knew what was going on sometimes. I was like, what did he say?
We don't often get compliments from the visiting team, so that's good.
The greatest show of sportsmanship right here. The handshake at center ice. As the Mavericks will go back and lick their wounds here and try and recover from battling not only the Kansas City Scouts, but the referees of the Omaha Winter Classic. And a 5-1 loss against the Kansas City Scouts. So Mavericks still in this. So 1-1.
Yep.
They won their first match against the Lincoln Stars. They just lost against the Kansas City Scouts. We face the Junior Musketeers, who from
Sioux City.
Sioux City, the Musketeers, who from when I last looked was in last place. They got rolled pretty hard by the Lincoln Stars yesterday, 8-2.
Okay.
And we faced them at 2:30 on the same rink here for the Winter Classic, Game 3 of the Winter Classic for the Omaha Mavericks. So this is going to be one of our easiest games of the tournament in our bracket. So we really need to recover from this loss and get our minds back right, refocus, and come out charging.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's going to be, if there's a message, I think, from the coaches here, it's sort of manage your frustrations, and that's difficult when you're talking to 13 and 14-year-olds. But, you know, the goal is just to keep playing the game and not worry about the hit that maybe should have been a penalty that didn't get called. You just have to keep playing your game. And like I said, 5-1, I don't think that score is quite indicative of the way this game went. I know I didn't see the first period because Vivian had an early practice this morning, so we came screaming in at the beginning of the second period. But I think there are still some things to build on here from this game, and I'm sure Nick, Steve, and Grant will get the boys and Susie get the boys ready to go for that 2:30 game here this afternoon.
So we're 0-2-1 against that Kansas City Scout team. We played them twice for friendlies. We tied them our very first matchup. We lost the second matchup, and now we've lost the third matchup. I think we have the recipe to compete and win against that team, but they are definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they're a good team. They really are. They're a good team. They got some good goaltending, and they're very well coached. So we'll see what happens this afternoon. Looking forward to bringing that game to you here from Holland Ice at Baxter Arena.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.